What's up, y'all? Good morning. We are here. We are here for day 3, part 1. We're gonna split this up because if I talked about what happened this morning and what's gonna happen later on today, all in one, I'd be talking for 40 minutes, and y'all probably wouldn't watch that. So I decided to break it up. We're gonna do the morning session, we're gonna do the afternoon session, and that's what's gonna happen for the rest of the week. I'm off for the rest of the week, so I have nothing but time. I'm gonna be watching everything live. I got up at 4 a.m. this morning to watch the 200s, the hurdles, both the 110s and the 400s. I went to sleep as soon as Sydney finished running, which was around 7 o'clock. I just now woke up, which you can now see. What's the time? 9:33 in the morning. So I will see y'all later on today. But if you're new here, thank you. Thumbs up the video. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe if you are new here. Please do that. Y'all been doing that. The last 2 videos are slowly starting to climb in the views, which I really, really appreciate. Because I'm going to be here. I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to be talking about track for as long as I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm really into the coverage during the Olympics, but I really am going to be digging deeper into it during the rest of the season, which we got to finish up the Diamond League. And then we got going into next year. We got Grand Slam track coming. A lot of big things coming for track, as well as we got World Championships next year. So yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be talking about the big meets, and we are talking about the biggest meet that you could have in track. So let's go ahead and get on into it because I am tired. All right, so before we start talking about the heats for the 200, we found out immediately that the favorite, the last 2 years, she's been locked up for gold, leading towards the Olympics from 2022, even really in 2021. But we saw what happened at the last Olympics when she kind of misjudged her heat and the way she ran in her opening heat for the 200 at the Tokyo Olympics and got out. Shericka, from that point forward, she's been that girl. She's been knocking on FloJo's world record the last 2 years. As we know, she's the current reigning 200-meter champion at World Championships and has done that 2 consecutive years in a row. She was coming into this year as the clear favorite to win gold, and we thought that she was literally going to put together a race that was literally going to possibly break that world record that has stood for so many years, decades. But as we know, this season has not been the season of Shericka Jackson. This has not been her ideal season. She came out and she opened her season and it just looked like what was going on. It didn't look like the same Shericka Jackson that we have grown accustomed to. She was running slower. She didn't look as fit, but she started to get more and more fit the closer we got. And that's the thing too, because she opened up late too. She opened up super late. So that's why it looked like, what's going on? Because at this point, if you open it up so late, we expect you to be in top form, and she was not in top form. She was running, I think she opened up 22.8 and then turned around and ran another 200 and was 23. And she just looked like she was working hard coming home. Typically around that turn, she's already in the lead, and she just pulls away the last 100 meters. And those 2 races that she ran, she was right there with everybody else. And she's that much better than everybody else in the world. There should be nobody running with her coming into 110. Honestly, even coming off the turn, really nobody should be with her. But they were right there with her. So it was okay, what's going on? Is she okay? Is she injured? Is she just out of shape? But she started to run back into shape. She ran 10.8 in the 100 this year. So it was okay, she might be back. And she started to really look like she was starting to get more and more fit. So okay, she gonna be good. But then that race in Hungary, the 200 that she ran in Hungary against Julien as well as Daryll Neita, she pulled up coming home. And she said it was, I think at the time, she said that she was cramping. But as we see, she pulled out of the 100 to really focus on the 200 to make sure that her body's good, which lets you know that she's not 100%. So we was okay, who knows what's going to happen? That's why a lot of people in the predictions have not put her as the gold medal favorite. A lot of people had her off of their predictions for their podium. It was looking okay, Gabby's a clear favorite for gold. Julien is looking like a clear favorite, possibly for gold. And then it opens up the door because Elaine's not there. As we already know, Elaine has been the 200-meter champion at the Olympics the last 2 Olympic cycles. So she's not there. Shelly's not running the 200. So it's who is going to... It's opening up that door for that 3rd medal. So This morning, we find out, because Shericka was supposed to be in heat, I want to say number 4, the one that Daryll Neita was in. We find out, they show her pretty much in the warm-up section, which you're going to see here, and there's DNS, do not start. Did not start. So it's like, damn. She pulled out of the 1, she pulled out of the 2. We're very likely not going to see her running in the 4x1. So we're not going to see Shericka run at all at the Olympics, which is, it breaks your heart. It's like the 3 queens of Jamaican sprinting, really the 3 queens of sprinting period over the last decade. They're not running in finals. And like we saw it last night in the 100, Shelly was not running, which we now know it was due to the warm-ups. And it's like, Shelly made the right decision because she is older. She's 37 years old. She's been nursing a hamstring injury since last year. If you remember in the 4x1, her second leg, she kind of like pulled up. I won't say she pulled up, but she tweaked something. If you go back and watch it in slow-mo, you can see she was in full stride, and then she kind of pulled up and tweaked something a little bit. But she finished it enough to get the stick off. But she was nursing that. She's been nursing that all year. Obviously, she's on the older end of the sport. She's not old, but for track and field, she's old. She's 37 years old. So her not being able to warm up, and I want to bring up too Sha'Carri, because Sha'Carri was out there with her. If you saw the video, you saw she was out there with her trying to get in and being denied. I kind of touched on that yesterday. Sha'Carri went out there and actually ran. I don't know if she even got the chance to really warm up like she would have normally, but also that could factor into her performance yesterday. Maybe that's a reason as to why she was as not. You can tell she was kind of like thrown off a little bit. Sha'Carri didn't look like Sha'Carri that we've grown accustomed to seeing at every meet. Granted, it is the Olympics. It could be a lot of pressure, but she didn't look like Sha'Carri, which could have played a factor into it. But Sha'Carri could go out there and do it because she's younger. Her body is a lot more limber, per se. Like, she's not as injury prone as a Shelly Ann, 37-year-old Fraser Price. So that makes sense as to why she pulled out. It sucks, and it's disrespectful too. I hope the IOC is doing their job. Like, they need to be investigating this, because that's horrible. You took the queen of sprinting out of the semifinal and the final. Sha'Carri was a big attention getter, but we wanted to see her up against Shelly. We wanted to see her up against Julien. Those 3 were the 3. And it's like, you took one of the greatest female sprinter, probably the greatest sprinter of all time. Like what they said, she has not missed a global medal in the Olympics since 2004. She's had a medal since 2004. So that's the crazy part. It's disrespectful, but Shericka, she's not running, so that's the sad part. But let's go ahead and get on into the heats. The first heat, we got our reigning Olympic champion, Juju. I'm still on a high for her. I'm glad NBC Sports actually finally posted the full segment from intros to celebration to her winning, because they did some BS yesterday putting that the 100-second clip of the race in there and didn't show anything else. I'm like, if it was Sha'Carri, they would have showed the full thing. So I'm like, do it. Just because she's not American, we're watching the Olympics. Everybody deserves their shine. She deserves her shine. But she got out here and she looked good. Julien looked good. To me, I felt like she was pushing a little bit too. She was still on the gas coming home at like 170. But maybe it's because she got all that energy. Like, Julien really ain't got nothing to lose at this point, but she's definitely a favorite going into this 200 final. She'll be there. I feel like she definitely will be. But she ran a smooth 22:41 with 1.4 tailwind. Talu was entered here, and they said she got wheeled off. So she's not running, which sucks too, because she's on the older end. Like I said yesterday, she's 35. And it's sad because this was a chance for her to get a medal. And I feel like yesterday, I don't think I touched on it, but I feel like she kind of ran her rounds backwards in the 100. You know, track, you kind of you set your rounds up to where you get faster each round, so that when you're in the finals, you can really do what you're trying to do. She did it backwards. She ran like 1087 in the heat. She ran like 1101 in the semis. And then she pulled up in the final. So, very, very sad. I love me some Talu, but she is out. She will not be running. Next, we got Gabby Thomas, the favorite, USA. She looked fantastic. Gabby is not the strongest turn runner. She's tall. So, when you're tall running a turn, it's more challenging than the smaller person. But she looked good running that turn. She looked really, really good running that turn. Like, she got up on everybody. She built the stagger up. She made it up on everybody. Coming home at like 120, she looked like she was in jogging mode. Like, she wasn't even really in full stride. She looked great. She She ran home 22:20 with no wind. The Jamaican, she came second, 22:54. Kambuji, 22:75. So they got the big Qs on to the semifinals. Next, we got Daryll Neita. This was the heat that Shericka was going to be in. Shericka not being there, it just opened the door for sure for Daryll to win. She looked like Daryll Neita has been looking all Olympics, all season, really. Daryll Neita, this is her season, if you ask me. Like, she's always been in the conversation, but this season she kind of like, she put herself in the front in the conversation for medals. I love watching her run too. Her form is perfect. She looked like a damn supermodel. Let's talk about that too. You watch how she walked in her intros for the finals. She looked like a damn supermodel. Like, her body is perfect. Her skin, her face, everything is perfect. And she runs like a gazelle. Like, that's the best way I can really put it. But she went out there and did what she was doing. She owned that. Not much was really, and I would like to say she might have been putting too much energy into it, but Daryll runs like that all the time. I've rarely seen her kind of get off the gas, but then again, she could be off the gas, so we just don't know it. Daryll runs, she looked like she running super strong, but she looked good, and she held up very well in the rounds in the 100, so I'm not doubting her, and this is her best event. I feel like she's a better 200 runner than a 100, so she could be up there to get a medal, especially now that Shericka's not running. This could be Daryl's chance because she was just off the medals in the 100. But she ran 22:39, no wind, big Q on to the semifinals. Next up, our girl, who I've been watching since, I've been really intently watching McKenzie since 2021, I want to say. What we at, 2022. 2022, I've been watching her. I was like, this girl gonna be something else. I tweeted about it. I said, she gonna be something else. And watching her run up against Julien last year in NCAAs, she was a 200-meter SEC champion in 2023. She turned around and did it again in 2024, but she was right there behind Julien in the 200. The 100, her start, that was the reason why she couldn't really get up there when it mattered at NCAAs, but she definitely was. I think she was second at SECs in 2023 in the 100, but she's fixed it. She's got everything together. McKenzie was in this heat. Audrey LeDuc was in this heat. But this was McKenzie's. McKenzie looked good. She looked very, very calm, which was very, very exciting because this is her first really big. This is her first professional meet because she was supposed to run at the Holloway Classic a couple weeks ago, but she pulled out. Smart decision. Save all that energy. We were all intrigued to see how she was going to look because this is her first professional meet. This is her first international meet. But she's been out there for a whole week now, so she's kind of gotten accustomed to the time zone. She's gotten her training in, and she looked comfortable. She looked ready to go, and she got out there, and she did what she needed to do. She ran a pretty smooth race. She looked like she was definitely on the gas until like maybe 180, which ain't bad because she ain't got nothing in her legs. This is her first race out there, so she ran 22:55, no wind. There's no wind out here right now. No wind. But she got on through to the semifinals. Good for McKenzie. I'm rooting for her. She could also get a medal. She could put her race together perfectly. She could get a race. Or she could get a medal. But we're going to move on to heat number 5. Heat number 5 had Brittany Brown and Thomas of Jamaica. These two were the two, but Brittany ran through that thing. Brittany, and that's the thing with Brittany. Brittany's form, you look at Brittany, she looked like she is always like running super hard. But it works for her. It works for her. She got a medal in 2019 at the World Championships. Brittany Brown's a sleeper. A lot of people sleep on her. She always finds a way to make it happen, just like she got in that 100 final last year. I don't think a lot of people were expecting her to get in the final, and she did. But Brittany, she powered through this, 22:38 with 0.2 of a tailwind. She looked good. Brittany looked good. Next, this is heat number 6. We got Dina Asher-Smith and Favour Ofili. Let's talk about Favour Ofili. We know about what happened because she was supposed to be in the 100 for Nigeria, but they failed to enter her in again, which is so it's so fucked up. Like, I hope they're doing some serious investigations over there because they literally ruined her chance of possibly even doing something in the 100. And the way she's been running recently, she could have factored in. She could have factored into that final. I definitely see that she could have gotten in that final. What she would have done, only God knows. But we didn't get to see it. But I feel like coming into the 200, she definitely gonna be coming with a vengeance. I would not count her out at all. Her and Dina Ashley Smith. Dina ran that turn. One thing about Dina, she gonna run that turn. She gonna run the fuck out that turn. And she was running that turn. She was in the lead. Favour was right behind her. And they came down to the line together, essentially. Favour Ofili won that 22-24. That was the season's best for her. Dina Ashley Smith right behind her, 22-28. These two are on to the semifinals. No shock there. Now, we're going to talk about the hurdles, the 110 hurdles. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for my boys. Freddie Crittenden, he's in the second heat. Second heat, he was the only one besides Orlando Bennett that we were really paying attention to, but really NBC was really only focused on Freddie. Freddie, like Lele, my girl, they are unsponsored athletes who have made teams. Freddie has almost gotten a medal. They're literally, they deserve money, period. They deserve contracts. They deserve to be able to put all of their focus into track. Because it's like, for them to make teams in the situations they're in where they don't have time to just focus on track. They have to get other ways to get their money. And for them to make teams against other people that have nothing but time to focus on track, they deserve the money that they're owed. And they're owed a lot of money. But Freddie, his heat, he got out and he kind of looked like Nia. Nia at the trials in her heat where she just was like playing the game, like playing the IQ game. That's what it looked like to him. Like a lot of people, like watching it, we was like, what the fuck just happened? When I watched it, I'm like, what happened? Like, what is he doing? And I'm like, because I feel like knowing that you have the repechage round, yes, that's good to have there. But I'm like, is this a smart decision? Because in his post-race interview, he was talking to Lewis saying like something wasn't going on right. Like he's trying to pay attention to his body. He knows he has that next round and he's going to run it full-fledged. I'm like, did you need to do that though? But then again, I don't know what's going on with his body. So if something's going on with his body, I'm going to take his word for it. I'm going to trust him and hope that everything works out the way that it's supposed to work out for him. But I feel like you should have. I felt like I would have ran that race the way I would have ran a heat and hope that it was good enough. And if it wasn't good enough, you can go through and fix what you thought you might have needed to fix in the heats to run the repechage on Tuesday. But whatever, he's got that. He finished dead last because he was not running hard at all. He was kind of like stutter stepping it through, kind of like what you would do in a warm up is what he was doing in the race, kind of like Nia Ali did in her heats. But we know he has that next round. I hope he said he's gonna run it full. I hope he does not smash in the hurdles, but he should get through. That's all I'm gonna say. He should get through. The next heat we're gonna talk about is heat number 3. My boy Daniel Roberts. When it comes to nerves, Alicia Johnson got my nerves all the way up here because that's like family to me. So I'm gonna always be rooting for her, and whenever I watch her on the line, I get nervous. But Daniel Roberts is right behind that in terms of anticipation. I root for him just like I root for her. I want him to do well. I was nervous. But he got out, and he was hitting a couple hurdles coming home. So I was nervous. And from like second to fifth, as we see with the times, and we know it's the top 3 that go on to the semifinals, we couldn't tell from just meets the eye. You couldn't tell unless you watched the photo finish. And even at the photo finish, sometimes it looked like it was like who got across the line first. Because from second to fifth, they all ran the same time, 13:43. But Daniel ended up getting third to go ahead on through to qualify for the semi, so he don't have to run the repechage. Hansle Parchment, I was like, oh shit, he gonna have to run the freaking repechage as the current reigning Olympic champion. I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like he's trying to defend his title and he might not even get there to do it. But he got through on time, so we're good. Those two made it on through to the round, to the semifinals. Good for Daniel, good for Hansle. Next round, we're going to talk about heat number 5. We got Grant Holloway, Rasheed Broadbell, and Sasha Zhoya. Sasha Zhoya, he is the Frenchman. Well, he's Australian too, but he's French too, but he represents France. he's got so much good energy. I love watching him run because he always got good energy. No matter what, he's always going to have good energy. And I feel like he's the future of French hurdles for sure. He's definitely going to be a big factor in the future. He's young. I think he's 22. Rasheed Broadbell. In my opinion, he's the biggest threat to knock off a sweep that America's trying to do. But Grant Holloway, in a class of his own, 1301, 0.7 win. Like, he was out. Like, Grant looked comfortable. He's ready to avenge his loss. Like, he should have won that final in Tokyo. But we all know that back half of his race is what gives it back. And Parchment, they're literally flipped too. Like, Parchment, he never really gets a good start. Grant's always going to get a good start. But Grant gives it back coming home, whereas Parchment builds it forward. It's going to be interesting because Rasheed Broadbell, he got second, 1342. Sasha Zhoya, 1343. Those are the big cues going on to the semifinals. It's going to be quite interesting to see what's going on there when it comes to the semifinals as well as the finals. Hopefully everything works out well and everybody that is supposed to be in the final ends up in the final, because we want the best of the best in the final so we can really see a dogfight. But that's what we got going into the semifinals. So that's going to be good to watch. I think that's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's got to be Wednesday because their repechage is on Tuesday. So, and the women's hurdles start Wednesday too. But lastly, we're going to move on to the 400-meter hurdles for the women, the heats. Rushell Clayton, she looked good in her heat. She was in heat number 1. She won that 54-32. No shock there. She's good. She's going to be a threat for a medal up against this next one in heat 2, Jasmine Jones of USC. She looked good too. 53-60. She looking good. Like, she looking good running this. She ran that so comfortably. Femke, the big hitter, like, she looking good. 53-38. Smooth run. It's going to be a battle between her and Sydney. If you want to ask me, Sydney's just the next level. She's the next level. I see it being a battle, but I got my money on Sydney. But Femke could prove me wrong because she's been looking good. Like, when it comes to like a flat 400, she's fast as fuck. Sydney's faster though, so that's where it's gonna come down to who's really got their best race together on that moment. A lot of people think Femke could beat Sydney. She could. I just don't see it happening. Sydney's in a different stratosphere. She's a different type of beast. Femke is a beast too, but she's a different type of beast. But she ran 53-38 to win her heat. She was jogging it coming home. No shock there. Anna Cockrell, Charlotte girl. Charlotte, North Carolina, stand up. But she been looking good. This has been her redemption season because, as we know, in Tokyo, she disqualified out of the final. She's been on a tear coming back. Like, this is her best season. She's been PRing damn near every race now. And she ran this one super smooth, 53-91 over Lena Nielsen and Geneve Russell. Lena ran 54-65. Geneve 54-67. Anna was looking comfortable coming home. 53-91. She honestly is my number 3 pick for a medal. I got her with bronze. We gonna see what happens. And then the queen, the GOAT of the 400-meter hurdle, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. She came out doing what she's supposed to do. She took the race out. First 200, she was booming that thing down like she runs a 200. And that's the thing, too. Sydney runs a 200. She done ran damn near every event that you can run this year except for the 100 meters. She ran the 200 and set a world lead up against 200 specialists. Gabby Thomas was in that race. Abby Steiner was in that race. Jenna Prandini was in that race. She kicked their asses, too, back in, I think it was May. So we know she got the 200 speed, which we see in her first 200 of the 400 hurdles every time she runs. And then she ran the 100 hurdles, ran 12:71, I think, or maybe 12:69 earlier this year. That's crazy. And then she ran the 400. We know what she runs in the 400. She's number 2 all time in American history for the 400. So we know she got the speed. We know she got the flat speed. She was stutter stepping in this one, coming through, I think, to maybe hurdle 7. But she was jogging home. Sydney ran. What did she run? I don't think they put the daggum time. I think it was 50. It was 53 something. which was the third fastest of the day. So Sydney, no shot there. We know what's going on. But that's really all we got so far this morning. I'm going to be seeing y'all later on today, probably around 3, 4 o'clock for the semifinals for the men's 100 and the finals for the 100. The men's 400 heats, they start today. And I think that's all we really have for the rest of the today in the sprints and the hurdles. So yeah, y'all gonna see me later on. If you made it this far and have not already, please thumbs up the video. That helps my video get out. It pushes it out. It brings more people to me. Please drop your comments down below. If you're watching the video, drop your comments. Let me know your predictions. Let me know what y'all are thinking, because I just want to have the conversation with y'all, because I want to continue to build on my track and field audience, bring y'all to me. But yeah, I'm going to see y'all then. Subscribe if you are new and have not already, and I'll see y'all then. Peace.